Now, I'm going to get into an article here that I found. Well, I didn't really find it. It kind of just got plopped in my mailbox this month because.
Oh.
So this comes from Game Informer magazine, and they had published
a
top 100 of basically top 100 of the RPGs they feel are the best ever made. And
like any platform,
any platform,
like going way back.
Yeah, this is any platform all the way from the beginning to current.
Okay.
And as much as I would love to read all 100, I think that's going to take a little while unless I just shoot them out there and we don't react to it. But I think I'm just going to go for the top 10.
Okay.
Because some of these that didn't make it into the top 10, I'm kind of like, huh? But so here we go. We just got to get there. 30. 20. How about we just go from the top 20? That sounds good.
Fair enough.
So, number 20 is Diablo.
Okay.
I think that kind of makes sense. Diablo, started a lot of the online RPGing like that, and so that makes some sense. Persona 5 just came out this year.
Heard a lot of good stuff.
A lot of people really like it.
Persona 5.
Yeah. Number 18 is Final Fantasy 7. I feel that's a little low. Personally, for me, I feel that's a little...
Yeah, I think it is. I think people hate on it just because it's
getting popular to hate on it now.
I think that's kind of the thing. And then you have that from time to time where people will be like, everybody loves it, therefore I can't kind of mentality.
Yep. 17 is Ultima Online. That was one of the first Ultimas that I think really kind of broke into the mainstream. 16, the ever awesome Secret of Mana.
Oh, fantastic game.
15, Pokemon Red and Blue. I mean, obviously that started the whole thing. Then you have 14, Deus Ex. Probably one of the first franchises that started the first-person shooter / RPG type thing. Because it was one of those games you could play it any way you wanted to. You could stealth it. You could full-on go in there and blow everything up. And you did have to up your stats. There was nothing like it at the time.
I was surprised that that's up there, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, it is a little higher than I thought it would be. But so number 13 is Planescape Torment. Never played it. Don't really know that much personally about it. Number 12, Fallout 3. I guess I could see that, because when I first read that, I was like, why not the other ones? If you're going with, this started it, to kind of give it its place. But I guess Fallout 3 was the first one that you really felt immersed in the world because it was 3D and everything.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
Number 11, Bloodborne.
Oh.
And at first I was kind of like, it's more action to me. But you do have item management and you do have character stat management and all that kind of stuff. So it works. 10, the incredibly hard Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah.
Never beat it. Very, very hard.
Yeah.
Number 9, Baldur's Gate 2, Shadows of I don't know.
Baldur's Gate 2.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 2. She just fucking said that. Number 8, Diablo 2. The granddaddy of the Diablo series, honestly.
I figured that would be up there.
7, this is one that everybody was talking about back in the days, the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, it's a good game.
That was a very good game, very big game. 6, World of Warcraft.
Okay.
6 is probably a good spot. I mean, there's only hundreds of millions of people that played it,
Seems fair.
So here's where I kind of start getting a little
Let's see this next
5, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Now, it is a good game.
Okay.
It got really good reviews, but I kind of feel like starting to go in your top 5, giving it to something that isn't really a genre, it didn't invent anything. It did the same thing that everything else has already done. Although it is a good game, so I guess that's why it gets its 5th place. 4, Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is the best out of the Mass Effect series, although I don't know if it should be this high up. Good story, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I just feel like if you're going into a list where you're talking about RPGs, like one that's loosely based on RPG stuff, shouldn't be this high. But that's just me personally.
I know people can't hear it, but I have this real confused look on my face.
Yeah,
right
Will
now.
looks like he has to take a really big dump.
Yeah.
It's like that face where you're like, I don't know where I am, and I have to poop.
Okay.
3, Chrono Trigger.
Okay, good.
100% agree with
Good,
this.
yes.
Chrono Trigger, fantastic fucking game.
Awesome.
Very hard to find. If you're a retro collector,
Why, though?
good luck.
It's like there's a lot of them out there.
It was printed over because people had like 4 copies of it.
Because people are holding them hostage.
Yeah. Number 2, Final Fantasy 6, or in the States, 3. Fantastic game as well. I will say fantastic game. I always get in an argument with Jason and both my wife.
Yeah.
Because they're like, it's the best Final Fantasy ever, and to me, I didn't really get into it as much as 7.
I think the thing is, a lot of people in the States, that was one of the first Final Fantasies that they actually got engrossed in and played through.
Right.
Like, we had Final Fantasy on the NES, which was, I would say, it hasn't aged real well. And then you had Final Fantasy 2 on the Super Nintendo, which I think that's 4?
I believe.
4? And I feel like people were just so hesitant to get it, to pick it up. But I think that 6 or 3, I love how they screwed the numbering up. I think it was the one that, like, the story really pulled people into it. It was more than just grinding your stats and just playing the play. There was story. 3
basically was the first one that had a decent story written for it, so I could see that. I just felt more compelled by 7's story personally.
Sure.
But that's just me. Different strokes for different folks. Mm-hmm. So now we move on to le number uno. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Okay.
Now, I have conflicting feelings about this. Skyrim, fantastic game. Still has people creating mods for it to this day, which is, what, 4? Going on 5 years, I think? So when 2011. So going on 6 years since this game was made. There are still people modding the shit out of this fucking game. It got a redo, like an HD upgrade for Xbox One and everything this past year. Like, it is a fantastic game. But the placement of how they did this list doesn't make any sense to me. Because if you were going to give it to Elder Scrolls, you would give it to either A, the first one that did the 3D right, which in my opinion was probably Oblivion.
Oblivion, yeah.
Well, if you're on PC, Morrowind did really well.
Yeah.
Morrowind had a really good story. It just didn't port well to the Xbox.
No.
They had to cut a lot of shit down. But I don't know, like I said, I'm very conflicted. I kind of want to agree with this, but I kind of don't. It was the game of the year that year that it came out, and it did win a lot of like best RPGs of all time awards and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I have beef with this top 20. There are several games that I feel are definitely missing from this list.
Well, see, and that's in the top 20.
Yeah.
Like, there are things in the top 100 that I'm like, why the fuck is it this low on the list?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to see if I can find one real quick here right now. Since we're getting into it.
Can I call one out and you can tell me where it is if it's on this list?
Okay, sure.
And that is Super Mario RPG.
It is on the list. I know that's on here because I've seen it. I just got to find it here. Because I know whenever you see the picture of it, you know right away that's that. I think that's like, yeah, it's number 28.
See,
I think that's too low.
Way too low.
Kingdom Hearts 2 is 25, which I think is funny. Final Fantasy 4, the other one that we had mentioned, that's 23. Dragon Age Origins is 26. Earthbound's 27.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like those fit where they are. Mario RPG should be higher than
That's
this.
way too low for Mario RPG.
There was one that I found kind of funny that it was where it was.
Well, there's Xenosaga. I was wondering where Xenogears, Xenosaga...
And that's just episode 1. They didn't do 2 and 3.
And then
so that's number 41 there.
Yeah, and there's Xenogears.
Xenogears. Breath of the Wild's at 47.
Okay.
Which I find kind of odd. What was one of the ones that I was... There was like one of these and I'm like, why the hell is it so low? Where the hell is it?
Where's Phantasy Star?
I don't think it's on this list.
That is insane.
Oh, Vagrant Story was 87.
Okay.
That was one of the ones that I was kind of like, why is it so low? Tales in Symphonia, 89. That is probably one of the best RPGs that's on the GameCube.
Yeah.
Easily one of the best.
Skies of Arcadia.
I think that's on here. I'd have to just find it here a second. Oh, and the extremely underrated Odin Sphere game, that's number 80.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
doesn't
kind of
get
too
enough
low.
love.
So what was the one you had? Skies of Arcadia? That is on here. I know it's on here. Oh, Chrono Cross is 59. Thought that was kind of low. Skies of Arcadia, 55.
Yeah,
And I mentioned Oblivion earlier. That's 52. I think Oblivion way far down in here. Considering that games like Demon Souls, which is good, but not hardcore RPG, that beat out Oblivion. You know, I don't know. Like, some of this placement on this list is goofy. It's really all over the place.
And I get that some of these games I'm kind of objective on because, like, growing up, I didn't play a ton of RPGs until I got older, and then, like, I only played them for a brief bit until, like, I just don't have time to play them anymore, which sucks.
Right. Phantasy Star 4 did make it, number 30.
Okay. All right.
So there is
Good.
a Phantasy Star
Good.
game on here. But, yeah, I don't know. It's, interesting mishmash of stuff here. And I also found it funny that EverQuest was number 22. Like, that didn't even make the top 20. And EverQuest is one of those games that, like, again, a big player in the MMO online community. So, interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, because there's just so many other games that I'm thinking of right now. Stuff like Dragon's Quest or
Dragon's Quest.
Grandia.
Grandia 3 was on there.
You know, I know there's Persona. I saw a few different Persona titles in there.
I was actually surprised I did not see Brave Fencer Musashi on there at all.
Yeah.
That was a big seller back then. Big enough that Square thought, hey, we got to put our FF8 demo on this because people are going to buy the shit out of this game.
Legend of Dragoon.
I did not see that on there. And that's a classic PS1 RPG.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like, come on now.
Yep.